Hello everybody, I'm up to the West Ham YouTube channel. It's Corey, and yes, of course, it is the FA Cup fifth round. It is West Ham taking on Manchester United at Old Trafford, and as the day's gone on, I'm getting progressively more excited. Listen, I know it's a tough task. If any of you have seen the predicted 11, you'll know my feelings on things. You'll know that this is going to be a really tough game for us to come into. Obviously, I don't think Mickey's going to play. That's a real worry, like I've said, in terms of transition and who you can bring onto the pitch. No Lingard as well, and he was impressive before Fulham. So I expect a little bit of a change side. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but you just hope there is some FA Cup magic for West Ham United tonight. And listen, I'm looking forward to it. Watch along will be at 7 o'clock. We're all in sync this time, so any of you watching, it's the first time we can all celebrate or be in anguish at exactly the same moment. Drop a like on the stream, all four of you. I see you. Before we get started, we're going to talk about a tactical breakdown tonight. So I've covered, obviously, a lot of the predicted 11s. Just on that, by the way, in terms of the lineups, I think there's a few little changes in there. I think Diallo's going to come in for Manchester United on the right-hand side instead of Greenwood. I believe Cavani's still fit. Pogba's out. So there'll be a couple of changes. Maybe an Eric Bailly will come in instead of a Lindelof. But other than that, I imagine that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to play a really strong side. West Ham, on the other hand, I think Fornals is going to come in on the left-hand side, Jared Bowen on the right, unless I'm mistaken, with Said Benrahma at number 10. Yama, I imagine, will play up top. I've seen a few rumours kicking around today in terms of whether people would like Bowen as the false nine, or possibly even Oda Beku and throw him into the fire already. Hello, everyone. I see you. Thank you for joining me. So it's going to be interesting to see what the lineup is from that perspective. Like I've said, if Yarmolenko plays in the false nine, it changes the dynamic of how West Ham can come up against Manchester United, how effectively we can move from defence to attack, particularly against a side that's going to pen us in at times. And I'll explain that in this video as well, particularly with Manchester United's high line. It's very oppressive. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a specific way of playing without digging him out too much. He isn't, of course, the best coach in the world. I think when you watch people like Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, the systems they employ are multifaceted, and there's multiple different ways of defending and attacking. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a game plan, and he wants to protect his centre-backs as much as possible. And for me, those are the two weakest positions for Manchester United. And West Ham need to try and exploit that a little bit. I know it's tough without Mickey Antonio and a player getting in beyond and sitting on the shoulder for them. And we don't want to make it an easy night for Lindelof and Maguire. They're there to be got at. And I hate that expression because it's simplifying what West Ham has to do in this game. But certainly committing men forward, particularly when we've got the ball in the final third, is the way to go. They'll obviously protect themselves. They'll protect the two centre-backs with a Fred or a McTominay. No frills there. No massive, brilliant technical ability, passing ranges, etc. They're there to protect and they're there to press. Now, to be fair to McTominay, he's got a decent passing range and he can drive through the midfield. Fred's got a good energy and a good press to him. But there's no technical aspects to him. They're not deep-lying playmakers. They don't operate in the same way as a Paul Pogba will. He's a PE teacher. Okay, mate. You said it, not me. I'm just not a massive fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And good job as well, because I think Moyes could get the better of him if he tactically thinks through this game. Let's get on to the Manchester United side of things. Let's talk about their shape, what we're going to come up against tonight. This is their shape, 4-2-3-1, I imagine, with inverted wingers in Rashford, Greenwood or Diallo. It'd be interesting to see with Diallo, and I picked it out as well in the preview with somebody like Greenwood. The fact that they're so competent and capable of coming inside at times, but also stretching it to the byline is different. Expecting this game as well for Rashford to possibly switch sides with Diallo. And it just gives Manchester United a little bit more directness when they need it. And they do that periodically throughout the game, 10, 15 minutes, try and confuse teams, and it frightens them in transition. I would be concerned if Rashford comes to that right-hand side and he comes up against an Aaron Creswell, because it is going to ask serious questions of him. And I just worry about him defensively, particularly up against pace, and particularly if we have to try and push him forward. Let's talk about the other elements of this Manchester United side. The number 10 is probably the most intriguing one to it. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and why Bruno Fernandes is so important for Manchester United is because he's given so much freedom within this side. Sorry about the webcam. It's really playing up as usual. And I think it's slightly different as well with somebody like a Van der Beek, because even though Van der Beek is a good technical player, makes real intelligent runs, tries to link the play, Fernandes is more than happy to drop deep, pick the ball up the two pivots and progress with the ball a little bit more. And obviously he's got that passing range to accommodate, and it allows the likes of Rashford and Greenwood to get forward at times. So again, he's so crucial. Really, oh my God, he's so crucial Bruno Fernandes, in terms of how they play, not just in the penalties. I know that's a jibe at him, and I get it. He does get a lot of penalties. And Manchester United are on the end of a lot of favourable decisions, but the way he links the play and how he does it is really how he makes Manchester United tick, and he allows Manchester United to progress the ball forward without committing too many men as well, and keeping McTominay and Pogba in those big games sitting a little bit deeper. It's not a professional, okay? It's just a very, very dodgy webcam. Who would I have up top, Yama or Bowen? I've always advocated for Bowen in the false nine. I know people don't agree. You miss out on his work rate on the right-hand side. Question is, who do you bring in on the right-hand side to replace him? There aren't too many options kicking around. Do you have to put Yama on the right and then his defensive work rate against someone like a Rashford? I am massively concerned if that happened. So this Manchester United side, not too progressive in terms of fullbacks, but again, they have probably, for me, and someone criticised me in the preview video saying I was bigging up Manchester United, but for me, Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka are two of the best fullbacks in the league. I think Luke Shaw's massively changed my opinion on him this season. They will get forward. Luke Shaw is the better at getting forward. Any of you that watched him at Southampton, we know he gets to the byline. We know the quality of his delivery as well. He can frighten teams, and I think just by his general fitness and his athleticism, that I'm not sure how he's managed to churn that out this season. He's willing to get to the byline, and Rashford gets a bit more freedom in those central areas to either get a shot off or link up with the Bruno Fernandes. And it does help Manchester United in that final third, particularly against low block sides. As I explained previously, the protection from the double pivot with Maguire and Lindelof. It's so interesting when you watch United when they've got Eric Bailly and Maguire, because Eric Bailly has that athleticism, that pace, and that willingness to go and press the ball and win it. Lindelof is a little bit hesitant. He's not the quickest. There's the problem there with the positioning between the two centre-backs. If Mickey was playing, it's something I would say go and exploit. I still think we can use Bowen in this game to come in those central pockets and try and exploit Maguire, because he will try and press over. There's a lot of disorganisation. If you watch the Everton-Manchester United game on Saturday, particularly for that third goal, there is a real lack of communication between the two centre-backs. And for me, it's coaching. I don't think Maguire is a bad player per se. Yes, he lacks a lot of pace, and he's not very composed on the ball, which are quite important. But it's just the general organisation from that aspect. Out of interest, if we got a penalty, who would take it? No idea. Maybe give it to Jared. Is Odebeku, or however you spell it, would you put him up top? I worry about Odebeku not in talent ability, because I think he's talented from what I've seen and finishing, but throwing him in at Old Trafford, there is a certain level of maturity and composure you have to go onto that pitch and perform. And maybe towards the end of the game, if we need a goal, if it's 0-0, it's tight, I would introduce him into that 9 role. I think Moyes could do with Rashford to Grealish and put Soufal and Fredericks. Possibly. I think the problem is with Grealish is I think he's more willing to go to the byline than Rashford. Rashford's happy to come inside. He can't really, as good as a player as he is, struggles with a lack of space in there. But it's a good suggestion, Mark, actually, because you could push Fredericks a little bit higher. You could get to the byline, like I've said, and stretch Man United in their final third. Need to play 3-4-3. Yeah, I agree. I think we miss 3-4-3 in certain games, mate. And I think once we've got Arthur back in the side, we can definitely look to revert to it. Manchester United, in terms of how they are in possession, again, they'll push a mid-block. I mean, this is quite generous because normally they'll play with a little bit of a high line. But like I've said, the inverted two attacking midfielders coming inside, linking up the play, with the number 10 giving the freedom to go and link and press. And to be fair, I think Van de Beek gets a little bit of stick because he's not Bruno Fernandes. A lot of players aren't, but he does make intelligent runs. I think he looks to link up a little bit more with the number 9 than Fernandes will. The quality of Fernandes is because he drops into pockets and he's able to play those passes, and he's got such great vision that he's able to at times play like a deep line playmaker, but he of course can play like a number 10 and is intelligent. He's got a good shot on him. So again, I hope he doesn't play in this game. It changes things. It makes it difficult. It posed us problems last time in the league when Declan Rice and Souček were trying to press him. He sits back a little bit, and then Manchester United released the likes of Rashford, who's got so much pace. And it's so important in this game that West Ham cannot afford to give Rashford pace in transition, because he's lightning and he's clinical, to be fair to him. I've been critical of him when he's coming up against block spaces, but when he's got open space to run into, Rashford is one of the best in the league, unfortunately. If Odebeku feels like he's ready, then he should play. Yeah, fair enough. Again, I haven't seen too much of him, mate, so it's asking quite a lot of the kid. We need to draw fouls, as set pieces will be our best hope tonight. Yeah, agree, mate. I covered it in the preview. Set pieces are absolutely crucial. That is where West Ham can get Manchester United outside of open play. Really do feel Man United struggle on second balls at times. They can't defend. You saw particularly against Everton, the line that they play, they struggle with movement in behind. You feel that West Ham, with the likes of Dawson, Rice, Souček bombing on, we're going to cause them a lot of issues, and it's going to make it tough for them to defend against. So, and even though the likes of Maguire are good in the air, again, you would expect West Ham, particularly from set pieces, to exploit it. You reckon Lingard been giving the boys any tips? Yeah, hopefully, man. That's fingers crossed. So yeah, no, in terms of Manchester United in possession, anything else I can think of? Movement of Cavani is absolutely a real problem area. I think it's caught a lot of teams off guard. You know, we see Cavani, you know, as a 33-year-old coming over from PSG, injury problems, and you take away all of his talent, but actually his intelligence in terms of his movement, if West Ham are in the low block, if they're in transition, his link-up play, his overall IQ on the pitch is what does teams. And I would worry if Cavani and Fernandes can get on the pitch at the same time against West Ham, and it's a 0-0 towards the end, that there are going to cause some issues. But I guess the plus is he's not that quick. He really isn't that quick. He's aging now. He's never been a quick player, to be honest with you, but he has had real intelligent runs. And West Ham have just got to really switch on against him in that defensive shape and just make sure that if he is playing on that shoulder that we drop back. I've seen encouraging signs from West Ham this season in terms of our ability to adapt and deal with it. This is a massive test with Cavani, absolutely no doubt. But yeah, you know, Manchester United, and you see it there with the double pivot. They want to allow the front four to get on the ball, play inverted, and that fluidity of movement between the two, or the four even, is how they can cut teams open. That's how they did it to Sheffield United. That's how they've done it throughout the whole season. But they are quite one-dimensional in that aspect. That is the game plan. That is how they're going to work together and create chances. And if West Ham are in that defensive shape, they can't hurt us really in that area of the pitch. I'm sure West Ham or allow them to have the ball where they can't really hurt us. It's the problem when they have Pogba, luckily he's out, or Fernandes, where they look to try and release and get balls in behind. But it's not really Manchester United style. I think Ollie wants to play this kind of progressive, possession-based football. I fear for us with the back four tonight, I wouldn't worry too much, mate. From what I understand, we'll have enough to deal with that in terms of the width. And they'll play quite central as well. So it does benefit West Ham massively for teams to come into those central pockets because Rice and Souček are so good defensively. Particularly Declan. We know his defensive work rate is phenomenal, as well as his intelligence. Final third for Manchester United, expect them to line up like this. Again, the problem is when they start introducing Luke Shaw. And I said previously, Luke Shaw's the guy that will want to go to the byline. Aaron Wan-Bissaka will kind of sit on the edge of the box. He's not going to be as progressive, purely because he's not actually got the best terms of quality in terms of that delivery, in terms of that technical ability. He's a fantastic one-on-one tackler, 100%, probably one of the better in the league. But I think it's positive from an Aaron Creswell perspective if he's not going to get at him too much. The problem is if Greenwood or Diallo play. And obviously they've got that pace and unpredictability that could cause him a few issues. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for. Pro Gamer Irons, yeah, nice one, fella. Everyone drop a like on the stream as well. Really appreciate it. Obviously, I hear all your views and opinions on all the videos. So thank you very much for that. Final third, like I said, you know, and this is the problem. You can see there with both the number 10 and the striker, and it's the link-up play between the two that at times in that low block causes teams a few issues. Cavani, I mean, it causes us more issues than Martial. If Martial starts in this game, I think West Ham can nullify a lot quicker, transition a lot better, because Martial isn't a natural number 9, can't really play on the shoulder, needs space very, very much like Rashford. I mean, Man United have got two players in their side that aren't really good and playing with their back to goal or trying to hold up play, and Cavani knits it a little bit better for them. So fingers crossed Martial actually plays. I'll regret saying that because he'll come on and score now. But other than that, I mean, they'll of course employ a bit of a high line in the final third. Like you see there as well in terms of that back line, the defensive protection of Fred and McTominay against Lindelof and Maguire. Again, I'm not comparing a Jarrod Bowen to a Neymar, not in a billion years, but if you ever watch that Man United PSG game, you'll know the fact that Lindelof and Maguire got absolutely slaughtered in transition because they didn't have the protection from the fullbacks. When they tuck in Man United, they'll really tuck in. The fullbacks will go alongside Maguire and Lindelof. Probably because their position is not that great. Probably because their pace isn't that great in the press. Their organisation is a little bit poor. But in transition, West Ham can really hurt this Manchester United side. And they're going to rely on McTominay and Fred to go and try and win the ball and protect them a little bit. And if West Ham can commit enough men forward, by the way, push forward with the fullbacks, which again is a huge risk. And I do worry about Creswell because even though his delivery is so crucial from set pieces and open play, his lack of pace, particularly now when we know how he's coming to this side, and he adapted better at a left centre-back than he did at a left-back. Man United will thrive on that in terms of how they can hit West Ham on that counter and find that space in behind. So it will be a bit of a chess match at times. It was in the first fixture as well in terms of using the double pivot. I think it was Pogba and Matic at the time to protect Maguire and Lindelof, and equally West Ham with Rice and Souček to protect our centre-backs. Someone in the chat earlier said about the wing-back system. Chat would change everything from that perspective, would make it easier to transition and carry the ball forward. Is Jesse Lingard allowed to play? No, he's not, unfortunately, mate. Do we sit him for a bit or do we high press from the start? Interesting question, mate. I wouldn't press Manchester United at all, but there has to come a point where West Ham do progress a little bit further and try and break the line a little bit. Definitely push Souček in the box. If Antonio doesn't play, if Oda Beku as that natural 9 for me doesn't play and Yama's in the side, we have to try and create or push our midfield forward into the box. Benrahma has to get on the ball in that final third to get a shot on goal or create something, because we're going to be very, very limited. Manchester United, and particularly Harry Maguire and Lindelof, will benefit so much from West Ham with a false 9. Keeping possession will suit them. And you'll see, and I'll go on to explain in the defensive shape, they're primed for teams and breakdowns in possession and to win the ball and transition in those central areas, because they know that teams will have to go for it against West Ham at some point. But I certainly wouldn't go from it from the beginning. I think we've got to be a little bit patient with this United side. And like people have said in the chat, and we all know, our set pieces are fantastic. And I think if we can wait long enough in this game, we will get that chance. If we get that goal, go to a low block, I'm absolutely fine with not committing risks. But we're going to have to commit risk at some point if we're going to win today. I feel we're going to show too much respect today. Unfortunately, mate, I think we might see that in the first 10 minutes. What's my score prediction? I said Man United 2-1, but I'm feeling confident. I'm going to go 1-1 normal time, West Ham to win it in extra. Should we play Randolph or Fabianski? I'll play Fabi. I said that in the preview. I think Randolph's actually injured, to be honest, mate. But I would play our strongest keeper in this game. I think people have flitted with the idea of, do you play your strongest side, given that the Premier League and the demands in it and how often the players have played. But the reality is, to be honest, I think we have to play our strongest team against Manchester United. We're playing next Monday. That's plenty of break for the players. I know they've been fatigued recently, but we just have to do enough, and we have to really put out the strongest side that we can, to be fair. And I'm sure Moyes will. I know he'll play defensive, but he'll put the strongest side he can. If Antonio doesn't play, I would like to see Bowen up top. Yeah, people have said that quite a long time, mate. Can't really hit a long ball to Bowen, which is why Moyes prefers Yama. I think, okay, yeah, maybe. Depends how you play, mate, though. You can easily hit a long ball, or you can try and play through the gears and play through the different phases of play and progress it to Jarrod Bowen. But I know what you're saying. I just think, I said it as well, one thing that worries me about Yama, if he does play the number 9, it's absolutely fine. There's no problem. There's no problem in if he has to play there, but he has to keep the ball. Ball retention is absolutely crucial with Yarmolenko. Sometimes he takes too many touches and he doesn't keep it, and he's not economical with it in the same way that Mickey can be. Although albeit he hasn't been great, Mickey, in that last game. But certainly, even if he's dropping deep, we have to keep the ball and progress from there. 3-1 loss for me. It depends if Moyes plays his... Oh, my God, this webcam. 3-1 loss for me. It depends if Moyes plays his strongest side, I'm sure. Not at all confident today, but when we have been confident, we've lost. Yeah, I've got a feeling. I'll probably get it wrong, but I have a feeling. I'm feeling some sort of confidence from somewhere. Maybe it's just the FA Cup and a late kickoff, but we shall see. So, yeah, in terms of that Man United final third, not really too much else to talk about. I think we can deal possibly with the threat of Rashford a little bit more in that shape. The problem for Rashford is transition in it. And I said before, he's one of the best in the league. It'd be an interesting battle between him and Soufal, or maybe Soufal and Luke Shaw if he pushes forward. And I think we're going to have to ask our fullbacks to progress with that ball a little bit today, and particularly Soufal. As the more athletic of the two fullbacks, I want to see him go and take that ball and push forward and get deliveries into the box if we're in the final third, and ask questions of this Man United back four. Because as good as they can be, Man United, they're definitely positioned in terms of their defensive shape, can be brought out of position, and West Ham can get a goal here. I know people say it's Old Trafford and we should fear it to a degree and people aren't feeling confident. I get it. I completely get it. And particularly with our record against teams like this, we're a little bit defensive, but there's no reason why West Ham can't get a goal in this game and nick it. Absolutely not. There are weaknesses in this United side, and Everton showed that on Saturday. They ain't got Pogba. Yeah, fantastic. Much better for us. Let's hope the ball doesn't go out tonight and they let it go on. Anyway, is Oda Beku better to play on top instead of... So, yeah, I mean, mate, that's going to be the debate, isn't it? I'm sticking on till probably nearer the watch-along as well, so I'll let you know the lineups and we can discuss that then. Fabs to take us through with a winning penalty. Wouldn't you love to see it, mate? That'd be class. I don't think my nerves can take penalties, to be honest, against United, particularly with some of their players. Right, defensive shape, and this is, I think, where West Ham's chance comes from, but equally where Man United's best chance comes from. You can see there in terms of the way that they'll use the likes of a Rashford or a Greenwood or a Diallo. They're not protecting the width as much as other teams will. The way that they sit a little bit inverted to pick up that ball and transition in central areas is exactly what Man United need, because that is ultimately their best chance of getting a goal in this game, and particularly of cutting teams open. You saw it against Liverpool. The minute they pressed up against them, Rashford and Greenwood were prepped and ready to go. And the fact that there's so much commitment from those players to get into those areas in behind without even really receiving the ball shows you Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics. He knows he's got players to do it. The problem is with Man United is that they've got players that can run from deep and they've got mobility that West Ham don't have. So West Ham will have to, if it's an open play, get the ball, progress, keep some sort of press on them and introduce the fullbacks to create a chance. That's where the two teams differ in terms of personnel. But like you can see here, the fullbacks tuck in, and it's a real common trait. And actually, they're not really at fault for a lot of these goals. You know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, like I've said, one-on-one, I think it's going to be really tough for Pablo Fornals on that left-hand side to create anything, particularly because he wants to come into his right foot, and you're going to put Cresswell over. And even so, Wan-Bissaka's athleticism, ball recovery ability is a nightmare. Luke Shaw, again, very, very similar. Good at winning the ball, athletic, will go and press. But if West Ham can commit overloads in the box, and this is a big if, because I don't think we've got the personnel to do it, but particularly Tommy Souček, he's the guy in this game, if West Ham want to get a result out of it, that forces these fullbacks to tuck in a little bit and protect the centre-backs that they know will get out of position. That's where it comes from. And you can only ever get those opportunities if you push the fullbacks forward and you take the risks. And that's what this game is all about. It's about taking risks. We've all been critical of Moyes in some of these bigger games because he just has failed to do that. I hope it's an FA Cup game, and obviously he wants to go and win it, and it's a one-off fixture, and maybe he's willing to commit those risks and take those opportunities. But it is one of the key ways that West Ham can get a result in this game. 5-4-1, Lee Mason, fourth official. How do you feel considering that he was... Yeah, I agree, mate. I don't agree with all these death threats for Mike Dean. I think that's disgusting. I don't think anyone warrants that. But what I will say about it is there's no accountability. He's made two horrendous decisions in the space of a week. And he's had no reprehensions or any type of punishment or anything. You know, it's a bit cliquey, this refereeing committee for me. And it's a bit disappointing to see that a ref who's supposed to be at the top of his game, who's supposed to be the pinnacle of English football in terms of officiating, I can't believe I'm even saying that, but from an FA perspective, that he's poor. He's so poor. And I'm sure we touched on it on Saturday, but if you have to review a decision 23 times, it's not clear and obvious. And it wasn't, and even from, you know, a layman's terms in terms of watching the monitor, there was no intent from Thomas Souček. So to answer your question, a bit nervous, and we know what Man United are like, and it's not just a gimmick. They do get opportunities, particularly from VAR. We saw against them last time. Well, the ball clearly went out of play. Match of the Day had the technology, but somehow, you know, VAR didn't, and they got that goal. And yeah, okay, the next two goals were good, and West Ham forced themselves a little bit. But you have to ask yourself, if they didn't get that goal, does the game change? Of course it does. So fingers crossed we don't have any decisions ruining the game tonight, because I think it could be a good game. And it's really disappointing to see that when that comes into effect. So, the defensive shape, back to it. Again, and what you can see as well from the two pivots, you'll have Scott McTominay will be the man to drop in, particularly between Maguire and Lindelof. It doesn't happen too much because, like I've said, there's such an emphasis on progressing that ball from their own half and from their own third and using the quickness of the players that they've got. But the reality is that if they are in a low block and they are in that shape, naturally, McTominay will fill in between the two centre-backs. Equally, Fred, I imagine, as the more aggressive, the man willing to press, will go and try and win the ball. Now, I'm interested to see what happens if West Ham can commit enough of a press, keep enough possession possibly, what Said Benrahma can do in that 10 role. Can he force Fred out of position? Can he get some space within the box? Can he ask a question of Maguire or Lindelof or even McTominay? And spaces will start to appear. You know, Man United, for all the high line that they play and, you know, for all the expansive football, they will go to that defensive shape if they have to. And if they had more competent centre-backs, then maybe they would be a little bit more risky. But I'd like to see Benrahma trying to trouble them in this game, whether it's from distance, whether it's with a pass. But it doesn't work if you don't push men forward or get men in the box. So if Yarma does play, I want him to play on the shoulder and try and use his movement in behind, because realistically, you don't need too much movement to get past Maguire or beat this defence that is a little bit disorganised at times. How they like to do it in Germany, they have a VAR centre in Cologne. Yeah, we'd probably do that one instead of the one at Stockley Park. So yeah, it's interesting. But like I've said, you see the freedom of the number 10 in the defensive shape. The Cavani as well is a free man in that defensive block as well. And the invertedness of both wingers, they'll attack with four. The whole premise of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team is to attack with the 4 players and then keep the base of the defence alongside the double pivot because it gives them the protection. Would they be a different side if they had more athletic centre-backs? Yeah, they'd be worse. They'd be worse to deal with. They would hurt teams a lot more. But luckily for us, they don't have them. So so hopefully we can get in there today, create some chances, and really try and hurt Manchester United. And the set pieces are a massive element of that. But I hope Moyes is ambitious. And I really hope in this game, because I think if he is ambitious, we can get something from this. There's no reason why we should turn up, be scared of Manchester United. A team that's 2-0 up at half-time against Everton at home and then draws 3-3 is a team that's fragile, that has incompetencies, that has weaknesses. And West Ham are a good enough side to go and exploit that. Do you think Leeds have a chance of getting Europa League? No, not for me, mate. I think it's too soon. Who's the ref today? I don't know, but Lee Mason is on the 4th official duty. Who is the ref today, by the way? I'm going to quickly check my phone and see who is reffing this game. But let me know in the comments if you catch it before. Hopefully it's not. Well, obviously it's not Mike Dean, is it? But Man United, West Ham FA Cup. I don't know if they say who the ref. Did they say who the ref is before? I don't know. As long as it's not Mike Dean, which it isn't, that's the main thing. But I don't want this game ruined by VAR, because it annoys me so much. But inevitably, I think with Man United, they will nick a decision somewhere. Let's just hope it doesn't hurt us too much in that aspect. Lineups coming out in probably around 2 minutes now, so stay with me. We'll discuss those when we get to it. Thank you, Costa Hammer. Sorry, mate. Let's have a look. Hi, Corey, up the hammers. Paul Tierney. God, I don't even know who that is, mate. I'm terrible with the refs. You know Mike Dean and you know Lee Mason because they're the worst ones, but Lee Mason, 4th official. Paul Tierney, yeah. Yeah, look, let's just hope it doesn't ruin the game, let's be honest. I've got a feeling we're going to win, lads. I've got a good feeling about tonight, and I could be left with egg on my face, but I've got that feeling. FA Cup, can we do something? It might even benefit us having someone like a Diallo on the right-hand side. I know he's talented, but he's young, he's coming into it. Is he mature enough to deal with that occasion? If West Ham can rattle him, the likes of a Soufal with his experience, Jarrod Bowen pressing on him, make it difficult. Fornals, I think interesting role for Fornals tonight if he does start, and we'll find out very, very shortly. I don't think he can influence the game too much in an attacking sense, but equally, I think in a defensive sense, I just feel like Fornals' work rate is absolutely crucial. If he can get any breakdown in possession, if his distribution is decent enough or at least effective enough, then West Ham can hit Man United on the counter. It's a shame we don't have a player really of genuine pace, and I think even when Mickey's come back, he hasn't looked the same prospect, which is why I think Bowen, even though he might not play in that 9 role, could still affect things in the counter because of his pace and his directness, his ability to get down. And I've spoke about Luke Shaw wanting to get to the byline. If we get breakdowns in play, Jarrod Bowen is the guy to go and beat Maguire. And I think as well, the thing is about someone like a Jarrod Bowen is it's not just his movement in wide areas, it's his movement in the box, and how sometimes you see when deliveries come in, he can link up with Souček, second balls, etc. He's just got that knack of being in the right place. And I think someone said his expected goals are a lot higher than people would expect, and I'm not surprised. So possibly commit him forward a little bit. It doesn't really work if you don't push someone like a Soufal forward and allow Bowen to get into the box. And maybe West Ham at times need to have that auxiliary striker because it will cause Maguire. I'm telling you now, if West Ham commit enough forward, Maguire will make a mistake positionally. And just really, honestly, I think Man United, as good as the side as they are going forward, they've got some real issues. West Ham have to be positive in that. What do I think of Mike Dean abuse? Like I said, mate, I don't condone the death threats, but I certainly feel his decision-making is horrendous, has been consistently bad, and he tries to be the centre of attention a lot of the time. And I feel like people are just reacting to someone who has no accountability, which I feel he should do. Let's get on to the lineups. They've been announced. Yep, they're exactly what I said for the record. Same back line, Fabianski in goal, Soufal, Dawson, Ogbonna, Creswell, Rice and Noble. And, oh, hang on. I got that wrong. Oh, no. No Benrahma. No Sai Benrahma. That's not good. That's really not good. That's really not good. I worry about Noble in that midfield, if I'm honest. It for me, would scream a bit more of a 4-5-1, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't think there's a 4-2-3-1 here. Unless Noble plays in the 10 role, I think athletically he's going to get crushed by someone like a McTominay or a Fred. He can't influence the game enough. I'm not going to write him off, but that really isn't good. It would suggest to me that David Moyes is trying to give some of his key players a break in Benrahma. And let's hope he gets introduced later on, because if you're going to go for it, I don't think you can play Mark Noble. So it seems to me like he's giving players a few rests in there. A lot of people said about Fredericks. I wouldn't have even minded him on the right-hand side, Bowen up top, but we have got what we've got. People to come off the bench, Lanzini, Benrahma, Olubeku's still there. It's not great. Really not great. I'm a little bit concerned about this. Man United have made a lot of changes as well. I wish I had optimism. Not too sure about Rice Fornals. Neither am I, if I'm honest. Does worry me with the lack of pace and directness. I think Benrahma would have been... We could have seen Benrahma's quality in this game, the player with a little bit of quality in that final third, and without Lingard and Benrahma, it affects West Ham's ability to play within the lines or commit United to make a mistake. And like Andy says, very little pace with Nobes as well. I think he's going to be dealt with quite easily, if I'm honest. Surely Benny or Lanzini. Yeah, it's interesting with the Lanzini one, isn't it? Because he hasn't had a sniff, really. I know he hasn't had a sniff probably before Lingard come in, and I can't see him having a sniff after. So a bit odd that Manu, I would have played Manu instead of Noble. And if bring on Noble later on if you want to try and be defensive about it and add another body in midfield and put a 4-5-1. But I don't like setting up with a 4-5-1. And we lack pace on the particularly on that left-hand side before now. So it's not great progressively, that's for sure. Let's look at the Man United lineup. Everyone drop a like as well as ever. All 40 of you. Let's go through the Man United lineup now. I think they've made a few changes. Noble, goodness gracious me, yeah, concern. Let's have a look. Man United. Lindelof and Maguire at the centre-backs, which is probably a good thing for us as well. Henderson in goal as expected. Martial, no Cavani, so I imagine Martial to play in the number 9 role. Double pivot of Matic and Fred. Okay. It's not bad, lacks pace. Maybe you can hit him in transition. Problem is we're playing Noble, not Benrahma, so that is a little bit problematic. Right-hand side is probably going to be Greenwood, Rashford on the left, Van der Beek in those central areas, and of course Martial at number 9 with Wan-Bissaka and Telles at left back. So they have made changes, but the problem is that they are decent changes. It doesn't change the way that they'll play. They can still play the same way. They've still got pace in transition. I actually rate Matic, to be honest, but I think his lack of pace, if West Ham can get at him a little bit in this game and force him out of position, will benefit us a bit. It's a shame that we don't have Mickey in this side, or we haven't started with Odebeku. Noble versus Matic, electric. Yeah, I know, exactly. Maybe it's, but it kind of nullifies it. You'd like Benny to be in there, because I feel like he could force Matic out a little bit, or possibly even beat him. So a little bit disappointing in that regard. I mean, they are mostly changed sides. I wouldn't have expected that from Man United. Obviously, they're very, very similar to West Ham. They're looking to make a couple of changes and rest some key players. Bruno Fernandes on the bench, Amad Diallo as well, McTominay, Cavani, and Shaw as well. So they've tried to change things up. They've tried to keep things fresh. It's going to be a tough old game. But on a positive note, I think Telles is a little bit played more as an advanced left back for Porto and has played like that, particularly for Manchester United this season. On the right-hand side, him versus Bowen, I think possibly positionally Telles can get caught off guard. We can force someone like a Maguire out of that position. Luckily, we have got Souček in there. We have got legs to break those defensive lines like we need to. Trying to keep super positive. We've got enough. Goalless Benrahma was poor against Fulham and has been dropped. Yeah, I still think that's probably a bit harsh. I think everyone didn't have a great game, to be honest. No Benrahma, we killed our attack. I think you'd hope you see Benny later on. It definitely has to be introduced, that's for sure. And I'm a bit gutted, actually, given Man United's lineup, that we didn't bring him into the 4. Other than that, I think Manchester United will play exactly the way. Benefits us probably slightly more Martial playing, if I'm honest. Like I said, he struggles with his back to goal. Means if we're going to play in that low block with Nobes, it is better for us. And I imagine they're using Van der Beek to create some sort of additional movement in behind and give them some options up front. So I do get it from a Man United perspective. From a West Ham perspective, we're lucky they've still got poor centre-backs in there. Let's get at them a little bit. Soufal should close the door on the right-hand side. What a player he's been. Yeah, he's been phenomenal, isn't he, this season, Soufal. So it is a relatively strong side from West Ham, other than Benny. And he's taken, he's put Noble in really for Lingard, if we're honest here. I'm not massively happy with that. But listen, it's the FA Cup, everyone. anything can happen. I'm hoping Oda Beku gets on the bench. Yeah, mate, exactly. I think on the pitch even, I think that would be good to see as well. Oda Beku coming on, Ben Rama coming on. If West Ham can get some fresh legs in there, exploit Maguire. If West Ham, by the way, if West Ham can keep this to 0-0 or a draw for a prolonged period of this game, and we can bring on Ben Rama and Oda Beku, we can hit them. We can hurt them. There's no doubt we can hurt them. It's just whether Moyes wants to let that handbrake go a little bit, and maybe this is the game to do it. It's the FA Cup. It's the 5th round. We've got an opportunity here. There are weaknesses. I'm going to bed. Don't go to bed, mate. Don't go to bed. I'm still excited. I'm still trying to keep that enthusiasm about this game. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about the game in terms of the team lineups, etc., etc. No pace. Don't be fooled by Bruno, by the way. Mate, I said with Van der Beek, he's got good movement. I think Bruno is a massive step up, though, to be honest. A lot of people concerned about the pace in this side. Again, I completely get it. I'm not shocking. Yeah, people are really, really... people are really concerned. I get it. I do get it. I'm a bit gutted, to be honest. I would have liked to have seen Benny start there. I know someone said he's had a poor game, but you don't take someone like Ben Rama out of a 5th round FA Cup tie, one-off game, where he can influence things, and you'd hope Moisey brings some of these players on later on, because if he doesn't, I think that's where the criticism of Moyes comes in, where he's not willing to take risks, and he needs to in this game. And I think, I'm not saying it's easy to get past Manchester United, but we are in the FA Cup. We have got a chance this year. We're not under threat of relegation. I would have liked to have gone for it a little bit more. I think the issue is actually probably more fatigue. And I think if anything happens in terms of a negative result, he'll blame me on that and say, I had to change the side around and I had to make the sub. So it's frustrating, because I do think we've got enough of a reprieve, particularly when we're playing Sheffield United on Monday. So I don't see the reason why we've made that decision. But I think thankfully Man United have made a couple of little changes as well. But they've got better squad depth than we have. Can I have a mod? No, you can't. Everyone drop a like on the stream. Probably going to go over now to the watch along, but bear with me 5 minutes. But yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. But I am looking forward to it nonetheless. But what are we all watching actually? Tonight's watch along is perfectly in sync. It's perfectly in sync, right? This is the one time this season where this will be celebration or anguish at the same time. Well, will everyone be here? Yes, they will, mate. Angus won't be here, but hopefully he'll be in and around the comments or something like that. But Charles and Dennis will definitely be there. I think people are throwing a bit of a wobbly about the lineup. I do get it. It does smack of a little bit of a lack of ambition. I can only imagine something's come into play with regard to fatigue. I think that's been a real problem. And I'd hate that to be the excuse. I would really hate it to come out and say, well, it's fatigue. It's the squad depth, David. We don't have any. That's the problem. And I just feel we've got a break next Monday. We've got a break till next Monday, so I'm not sure why we would be a little bit conservative. Subs as well. Alves gets on there. Trot instead of a Randolph or a Martin. Other than that, pretty much as expected. Moyes has a plan. Let's hope so, mate. But I think I'm just echoing everyone's thoughts here. Set pieces tonight. Please, West Ham. But you have to progress far enough to get a set piece. We did that very, very rarely against Fulham. Someone said to me I was being a bit harsh with our Fulham performance. I thought it was awful. We just didn't control the game. We didn't take enough risks. We didn't push far enough forward. And that could be fatigue. But you'd hope you don't see that same thing tonight. You really, really would hope you wouldn't see that thing tonight. And I think a fully fit West Ham side coming into this game gives United some problems. But let's hope we get something, lads. Moyes inevitably tends to prove me wrong at times. So let's hopefully we see something here. Has Moyes won at Old Trafford? I don't think he has. I don't think David Moyes has won at Old Trafford since he's left, which isn't great. I remember he definitely hasn't beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I think that's a horrific record. But maybe tonight's the night, mate. Manchester United's naivety. I mean, we sat here a couple of weeks ago and Sheffield United went and beat them 2-1, albeit they had a lot of intensity and a lot of energy. If West Ham can bring any of that type of similarity and force them into errors, we can get a result here. We just need to attack and not be scared. It was worse when Noble and Yarmolenko came on. Well, I think that's the thing as well. I thought when you introduced, because Ben Rama went off on the 60th minute. So if Benny goes off, he's had a rest. I know he's been played a lot of games, but to not use him in this game I worry that we leave it too late because of the starting lineup. And if United get a goal early, it's going to make it really, really tough for us. Yeah, a lot of people were saying about that, Noble and Yarma coming on and being disappointed about it. Yeah, I do get it. But fingers crossed, listen. Let's hope. Let's hope. Show me something I don't know. I'm gutted, really. I think we could have done with Lingard tonight. I know it's Man United, but you would have loved to have seen Lingard in there. I know he had a poor performance. I think the team had a bit of a dodgy performance against Fulham, but just having players like that is so crucial for West Ham and the way we play. To not have them against Manchester United. And you look at Matic as well. I know he's a good defensive midfielder, but his mobility isn't there. And if Man United play a high line, that's something West Ham could have got at. So, but we don't know. Let's see. Not long till kickoff. I don't think so anyway. At least probably about an hour until we get started. The pace is frightening. Just need to take our chances. Yeah, and it could come down to that, mate. Backs to the wall, Jobby. Get that goal at some point. And deal with that press from United, because it's going to be quite horrible at times. But if anyone can do it, Craig Dawson and Ogbonna can. And then, like I said, it suits us with Martial, the way he'll play. He'll probably look to come into those deep areas as well, to be fair, and that will suit us. If we are playing for this low scoreline, this low margin, and looking to get a goal late on, that will suit us. So don't panic too much just yet. Let's have a look. We've got 15 minutes until we go over to the watch along. I may call it quits here. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me as well. I really, really appreciate it. Gone through the tactical breakdown. I'm all analysed out. I'm just going to go and watch the game, see what happens in it. Try not to judge it too much from the players and the sort of personnel in there. And maybe we'll see something that we haven't seen before. Fingers crossed. Join us in 15 minutes on the West Ham Way YouTube channel live with Dennis and Charles. We'll be going through all the lineups as ever, giving you our thoughts on a build-up, and we'll get live match commentary from whenever the game starts, whether it's 7:30 or 7:45, we shall see. But honestly, thank you so much for joining me. Like the stream before you leave, and until next time, till very, very soon, take care.